Well, hello. Welcome to episode 2 of The Tea with Tea. Today, I'm actually going to talk about how past trauma can stop you from finding your spirituality or from exploring it at all. Past trauma, no matter if it's from family, friends, whoever, past trauma can really affect you and the way that you see the world. It can affect the way that you live your daily life. And for me, the trauma that I went through, the things that I had to experience caused me to forget my curiosity. Because ever since I was a kid, going to my mom being like, what really is the universe? Like, how big is the universe? What is it? What is it made out of? And are we the only ones here? I mean, at like 6 years old, I was asking these questions, just confused as to what I was being told life and humans and everything was. Like, none of it made sense to me since I was a kid. I realized that the system didn't make sense. The way that humans lived life just didn't make sense, especially given the fact that I still remember, I think I was maybe closer to like 8 years old when I thought about this. I was like, so I'm in a house at the time I was living in a town called Gastonia. So I'm in a house in Gastonia, which is in North Carolina, which is in the United States, which is on Earth, which is in space, our galaxy, which is one of who knows how many. Thinking about it like that, I was like, everything seems so pointless. I was thinking this at 8 years old, that everything just seems so pointless. Going to school, going to work, the way that we had to travel, even like at 8 years old, I'm thinking of things like this, like, why does this work this way? I was questioning just the way life itself happened, the way that humans chose to live life and chose to build things. Growing up in a poor family, we didn't have much, and I was very aware of that. My mother, she didn't hide the fact that we struggled. Not that she really could, at one point we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. So there was just a lot of factors that made it obvious to me, given how smart I was and how I picked up on things and just understood things without even having to be told. It made sense why she didn't try to hide that we struggled, but she definitely didn't have to be as open about it as she was. It was just a lot. Growing up the way that I did caused me to think that life was just happening and there was nothing I could do about it, and that I was just dealt a bad hand, that I had no way to change what was happening around me, what was happening to me. I just got dealt a sucky hand in a poor family where I didn't get much and was made fun of for being poor. As I grew up, I started to really dig into being in the matrix, so to speak. That's what I call like this 3D reality, is the matrix. That's the easiest way for me to describe the reality that we all live in is the matrix. But we all each have our own individual reality. So I was deep in the matrix, believing that, I wasn't worthy of love, that, I just was never going to be financially abundant or financially free, and something I'm still working on. But now I believe that that can happen for me. I believe that I am abundant in many ways. Wealth isn't just money. Wealth is a lot of different things. And I am more wealthy now than I ever have been. And I don't even have a regular 9-to-5 job. I actually quit my 9-to-5, what was it, 4 months ago now? It was back in August, right before my birthday. There was a lot of things going on. My coworker was actually deliberately sabotaging my work. So anyways, I couldn't take it anymore. So I quit, and I've been finding ways to support myself over these past few months. And, I've applied for jobs here and there, just knowing that, life is expensive and savings will only last you so long. So I'm just letting life kind of do its thing, and whatever's meant to happen will happen. But back, I mean, even 5 years ago, I would not have believed that living a life like this was possible for me. To make my own schedule, to do really just whatever I want. I'm completely open, completely free, because I mostly do Amazon Flex. And, so it's whatever shifts I get with them. Outside of that, I'm really free. Like, I choose my shifts and how long my shifts are. And, so it just, this freedom makes me feel wealthy, even though I don't have nearly as much money as I have had in the past. I was working a job, I was making like $55,000 a year, which back then, this was 2020. This was 2019 to 2022. I was making about $55,000 a year. So back then, that's when things, right before and right when things started to skyrocket here in Charlotte. So I was making $55,000 a year, being able to pay my rent, my car payment. I was able to get a new car, a new phone. I got an iMac, a MacBook. I was able to get myself all these things that made me feel wealthy in physical ways, like material ways. But I felt so empty inside. The job that I was doing, I was literally lying to people. And to this day, it still gets to me sometimes. I'll have a random thought where I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. But it was my job, and I thought I was helping people, and it was almost like the company was lying to me. But then I realized the company was lying. I still continued to do the job because that was my livelihood, until I couldn't do it anymore. I was just like, I cannot, for one, lie to people anymore. For two, work with these people who are okay with lying to people. So I left that job making $55,000 a year to work a job that was $14 an hour. So that's like $11 an hour less, because it was morally draining me. I was becoming a person I didn't want to be. I was conforming into a group or a crowd that I didn't want to be a part of. All because of the money. All because I made enough money to pay all my bills, go out, have fun, buy myself nice things, and spoil myself, which felt amazing. Do not get me wrong. It felt amazing. But what I was doing to earn that money was not worth it. And I would never go back. I would never go back to that. I say all of this to say that life will always give you what you ask for. Everyone is able to manifest. And I wanted to manifest what I thought was wealth, which was material things. Growing up, I didn't have a lot. So that's what I wanted. That was in my head. What was going to make me happy was the money, the material things that I was able to buy myself. And the universe gave it to me through a job that made me compromise my morals. So I didn't want to do that. Stop doing that. I've flip-flopped from, or jumped, job hopped, whatever, many times since then. Many times before that. I'm what they call a job hopper, because I don't work in environments that drain me. Not physically, like, because I'll do, I deliver for Amazon, so I'll do physical work. It's the mental draining. I don't want to leave work and cry. I don't want to leave work so frustrated by what I had to do or what I had to deal with or any of that. I don't deal with any of that. If there's anything that's always draining my energy, I can only withstand it for so long. And at my most recent job, it was not even a year. It was like 10 or 11 months that I was able to deal with it, because the issues that I had with that coworker started almost immediately when I started that position, because I worked for that same company, and then I was promoted. So once I was promoted, that was when the issues started, and it happened almost immediately. So it was only maybe 10 or 11 months I was able to deal with it. And I was making decent money there, could absolutely pay my bills. I was still doing Amazon and like Grubhub on the side or whatever, whenever I needed extra money around the holidays, things like that. but I was comfortable. But again, I was in a place that was draining me. I was in a place that it didn't affect my morals or anything like that, but it was affecting me mentally. I was doing all the work. So then I was exhausted by the end of my shift. I was working overtime, trying to get everything done because I was carrying the weight. My point being, I know I go off on these tangents, but my point is, the universe will always give you what you ask for. You have to be intentional about how you ask for it. Because, oh, I just want money. Okay, well, you can get money plenty of ways. You have to be intentional about how you want to receive that money. Do you just want money? Is it just because that was my intention years ago. Going into adulthood, all I cared about was money. I was always chasing more money. I didn't care what kind of job I had to do. I worked in security. I worked in retail. I worked in all different kinds of jobs. Just stepping up the ladder, higher pay grade, higher pay grade, higher pay grade. Not thinking about the work that I'm doing. And so it continued to just be these jobs that would drain me, no matter how that may look. But I was making more and more money. And when I finally started making the most amount of money that I ever made, it was still not fulfilling. I still felt empty, like something was missing. And that's because I was not wealthy in the way that I truly wanted to be, because I didn't know myself. I said this in my last video. You have to know yourself and what you want in order to manifest the life that you desire. I didn't know what I wanted. It's something I'm trying to figure out, like in the long run. Like I know generally what I want, but big picture, I'm still kind of figuring it out. But it's a constant journey, and it changes as you experience new things. So let's say, I want to do this podcast right now, and let's say, it pops off and I get all these listeners and supporters and all this. I start making money and it's like everything I could have imagined, but then for some reason I still don't feel fulfilled. It's because things change. Maybe I want to do this now, maybe I won't next year. Who knows what life really holds. It all starts with you knowing what you want in any given moment, because all we have is right now. Everything is constantly changing. Everything is energy interacting with itself, because we all come from the same energy source. So all you can really do is set your intention in any given moment. Know what you want in any given moment, because all we have is right now. That's all we have. So all you need to know is what you want right now. And right now, I want to make podcasts. So that's what I'm doing. I post content. I've been posting content consistently since right before I quit my job, actually. I have a very slow but very steady growth. I've had a couple videos that have not gone viral, but gotten like over 70,000 views on TikTok. I haven't gotten near that many views on any other platform, but it's still something I enjoy. I started it wanting to share my spiritual experience, my journey, just in little clips, just little bits of knowledge, or wisdom, or just insight and things that I've learned, which won't apply to everybody. That's also not my goal. My goal is for my content to reach who it's meant for. And whether that be my small group of followers that I have right now, or if it blows up into hundreds of thousands and millions of followers, then that'd be amazing. But either way, I'm not going to stop doing it. I have like just over 1,400 followers on TikTok right now. And if I didn't get any more ever, I would still post. I have these consistent people that watch my content and comment and actually receive something from my messages. And so why would I stop? Even though it's just a few, or it's more than a few, but it seems small compared to these people who have millions of followers, but it impacts people. I help people, even in little tiny ways. And that, I'm literally tearing up, because all I've ever wanted to do is help people. Growing up the way that I did made me see how cruel life can feel. Life itself isn't cruel, but it can feel cruel. Because, yeah, when you're a kid, you don't really have as much choice if you don't have parents who understand how life works. When you have parents who are stuck in the matrix, that's how they're going to train you. And in school, they train you to be obedient and live in the matrix. So when you're a kid that has this consciousness, that has the ability to see past all the nonsense, but you're surrounded by the matrix, like not one single person in your family understands you or your vision or what you see or what you understand, it's difficult not to get sucked into that and that way of life, of seeing life as cruel and that I'm unable to change it. But you can change it with thought. It all starts in here. It all starts in here. Everyone has an energy field, and your thoughts affect that energy field. So if you're always thinking negatively, which I said this in the last video, if you're always thinking negatively, then your life is going to be negative. You're going to see what you think. And I am living proof of that. Because for so long, growing up the way that I did, I believed that my life was just destined to suck. That I was never going to be successful. I was never going to be happy. I was never going to find love. All those negative things, right? But I don't believe that anymore. And when I did believe that, that's what I saw. Everybody who surrounded me just drained me and sucked the life out of me. And I was always compromising myself and my boundaries. And, I didn't even have boundaries for a long time because I didn't really understand that I needed them. I just honestly kind of thought that I was just here to serve other people and not care about my own happiness. But now I understand that I'm here to serve other people, but care about my own happiness. Care about myself first. Love myself so that way I can love others. I love myself more now than I ever have. And letting go of all that past trauma that sucked me into that matrix kind of way of thinking, that matrix mindset, has helped me immensely. You have to work through that trauma. You have to work through everything that you may even not even think was traumatic, but it sticks with you. These little things, like maybe someone made fun of you in elementary school for the shoes you were wearing, whatever it may be. These little things that stick with you, you have to work through them in order to change your mindset. Because when you hold on to them, even subconsciously, you don't realize you're holding on to them. You may not even realize that it's something you need to work through. That's why you have to go inward and say, what triggers me? What hurts me? Or when things do trigger you in real time, you stop yourself, you catch it, and you say, why am I triggered? Where is this coming from? What experience led me to feel triggered in this moment? Because without recognizing it, you're never going to get to the bottom of it, and you're never going to be able to heal that part of you. Child Taryn is so much more healed than she used to be. I'm still working on healing her. This is the thing, is I'm still in this process. I'm not, one of these spiritual gurus that are like, buy my coaching services. So my best suggestion for anyone who often feels triggered or has negative thought processes, thinks life sucks, heal your inner child. Tell your inner child that everything is okay. That even though then they were hurt or alone, that now everything is okay and they can relax. That they are loved. And it's going to feel so weird at first, so foreign, but literally, even just how I'm doing right now, this is so healing for me because I'm sharing my experience in healing my inner child. And as I'm saying this, I'm saying it to my inner child. You are loved. Despite everything that you went through and despite experiencing things that you did not deserve to experience, you are loved. You are supported. And I am becoming a person that would love you the way that you needed to be loved. And that's what matters. Heal your inner child. Past trauma. Because not all trauma is from childhood. Childhood is a good place to start, but obviously it goes through adulthood. Everyone experiences trauma throughout their life. So start by healing your inner child and just go on from there. This is where it starts. It starts by healing. And even though we see life as linear, past, present, future, it's not. I'm present Taryn. Here's past Taryn. Here's future Taryn. And we're all parallel. So all I have to do is shift my frequency and say, hey, baby Taryn, I love you. I love you. Kitty's trying to get in. But shift. Speak to your past self. Speak to your inner child. I love you. You're safe. Anyways, I should probably wrap this up. Especially since Kitty is just whining to get in. Heal your inner self of all ages. Focus on healing your past trauma. And once you do that, which it's a journey, it's a process, but once you do that, everything else, all the other steps seem to be a little bit easier. And I'll talk about the other steps in spirituality or just awakening in general. But I felt really passionately to talk about healing your past trauma today. So there we go. Thank you for joining me for episode 2. I love you, love yourself, and let's grow together.